Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Alice and this is English with Alice B, where you can come to learn English in a clear and simple way without the stress. So today's video is perfect if you are someone who is unsure about how to use much and many. If you, like many students of mine, say many money or much people, then don't worry, you are not alone. This is actually a very, very common mistake that people make. These words are almost identical in meaning, but we do use them for different reasons. The explanation is actually pretty simple. So when you learn it, you can understand it, you can practice it, and then in no time, you should be using much and many correctly. In this short lesson, I will tell you exactly when to use much, when to use many, and when not to confuse the two. Let's talk English.
So, first of all, let's talk about when we use much and many. And there are three main situations here: when we're talking about large quantities, when we're asking questions, and when we're making negative statements about quantities. So, firstly, let's talk about large quantities. We use much and many to say that there is a large amount of something. There's so much work to do. There are many, many people here at the party. She has many responsibilities at work. If the quantity feels large, but we don't have a number or a numerical value, we can use much and many. And in fact, this is a very dramatic way to talk about the number. This is a very exaggerated way. I have so much work to do this evening. We ask questions when we don't know the quantities of some things. For example, how much time do we have? How many emails do you get every day? How many times have we been to this restaurant? If we don't know the quantity, if we're asking about the quantity, much or many is the natural word we use here. And finally, in negative statements, when we're saying we don't have a certain quantity of something, we can say, for example, I don't have much time. She doesn't have many friends here. We didn't make much progress. In negative sentences, much and many sound more natural than a lot of or lots of. So now the question is, well, in which situations would I use much and in which situations would I use many? Let's go into detail.
So let's start with the golden rule. Use much with countable nouns, use many with uncountable nouns. That's all. That's the lesson for today. Bye. Just kidding, of course. So this asks the question, well, what exactly is a countable noun? What is an uncountable noun? And how can I remember the difference between the two? The very simple explanation of this is if it's countable, you are able to count it. You can count it. You can give it a number. If it's uncountable, you cannot count it. You're not able to put a number with it. I'll give you some very, very quick examples. Countable nouns: books, people, films, cars. Okay, I can tell you there are 10 books on my shelf. I can tell you 2 people live here. I can tell you last week I watched 3 films. I can tell you in my life I have only ever had 1 car. In each of these examples, I've given you a number because it has a number. I can tell you and I can count how many people, how many books, how many films. These are nouns that we can put with a film, a person, a book, or if they're multiple, we have to put the number with them or a word like some or many. There are many people living here. I read many books last year. I've driven many cars in my lifetime. I haven't watched that many films. If you can count it, and therefore if you can make it plural, we can put many with it. So what are some examples of uncountable nouns? Well, these are the things that we cannot count. For example, information, water, salt. You could not say, for example, she gave me 3 informations. Okay, you have to give it a unit. 3 pieces of information. Okay, no problem. You wouldn't say, for example, there's so many salts on my pizza. We cannot count them. Well, you can if you wanted to, but to count the grains of salt would take a long, long time. A long time. So we don't do that. We would just say there's too much salt on my pizza. Liquids too are often uncountable, but pay attention. The unit matters. Liquid is uncountable. I would say, for example, oh, there's so much water on the floor. I would use much. Or yesterday I drank so much coffee. Okay. When we put a number with this, though, it's because we understand there is a unit somewhere. For example, it might sound strange if I said, I drank 3 waters yesterday. But you would maybe understand, or you would maybe infer, I mean bottle of water. I drank 3 bottles of water yesterday. The same thing with coffee. I drank so much coffee today. I use much because coffee is uncountable. But I could make it countable. I had 3 cups of coffee today. I had 3 liters of coffee today. But it is very, very common in a restaurant, in a cafe setting, for example. If I am with my friends and we all want a coffee, I might go and order 3 coffees, please. There is an inference, there is an understanding that I mean 3 cups of coffee. So with liquids, you may hear this expressed in another way. Another one that confuses students is money. Money is uncountable. So you might say, well, hang on, I can count money. Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can count money. You count it in a currency, though. A currency is countable. I have £5, okay? Or I have €10, or I have $20, okay? When you talk about the currency, then it becomes countable. If you're just talking about money in general, it's uncountable. You cannot have 5 monies or many monies. This sounds wrong. And if you use this with a native speaker, they will hear this. It really sounds obviously wrong. I have so much money. I don't have much money at all. So a quick way to remember, is this countable? Is this uncountable? Well, can you put a number with it? Can you make it plural? Yes, then it's countable. If you can't, then it's probably uncountable. Now, there's a word that we use often with both of these words, and that is too. Too much, too many. When we say we have too much of something or too many things, this is always quite negative. Too much of anything is a bad thing, okay? There's too many people inside my house. There's too many cars on the road. There's too much sugar in my drink. It's too sweet. So if you want to use one of these phrases, just keep in mind this does sound negative. This is quite a bad feeling. Too much of anything is a bad thing. So a quick recap. If you want to use many, make sure it's with a countable noun. Can I make the noun plural? 1 person, many people. 1 car, many cars. 1 restaurant, many restaurants. And if you want to use much, make sure it's with an uncountable noun. Make sure it's something that we're not making plural. I have so much work to do. They're making too much noise. So if this lesson helped you, please like and subscribe. Keep an eye out for my next lesson, which will be alternative ways to say a lot. If you have any feedback or any requests for my next few videos, please put something in the comments. Make sure you remember to check the vocabulary description below, and I will see you next time. Bye.